from Thanksgiving. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
1 week out. We got all of our YouTubers out there. We are 95.1, and we're going to get into the flow. We had some technical difficulties this morning. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but we get to the studio and, Mike back there, he tells us his computer has crashed, and we're like, oh. And my tech is not working. We're like, oh. But you know what? We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it going.
Mercy's
Yeah, that's how it goes. When the sine wave swings one way, it pendulums all the way back down, a hard swing.
Yeah.
And so today we want to actually switch it up for all of you that are listening to the flow and had us at the beginning where we were talking about sports medicine, activity. But today we're going to talk more about music because we are all really into the idea of music. Christian and I both are musicians. But before we get into the music, we also are taking callers. We are going to really ask the community today, if you're a musician out there, if you are into music, first things first, what's your favorite tracks? What do you have in rotation right now? And has anybody heard that new Andre album? Right? What? Little Three Stacks? What is happening? And so I haven't heard it, and I've paused. I don't want to hear it yet because I want to just be able to like put it on and take a long drive and just go one song all the way to the very end. And I don't want any interruptions. Yeah. Well, he used to walk around Brooklyn all the time playing the flute.
Okay.
Yeah, for a long time. Like we just take random pictures of Andre. Andre's walking around Brooklyn with a flute. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
He'll just pop up and start playing flute for folks. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, he's super. Yeah, it is, right?
Since it's not a flutist album, but he's definitely playing.
Yeah, and it's a Mayan flute. So for me, that means a lot. My family history is Mayan.
Okay.
But with that said, I wanted to just give you guys a chance to call in. We do want to get everybody involved. For anybody that's on YouTube, it is unfortunately delayed. So if you do have anything that you can type in on the YouTube banner, we'll see it, but we will be a little delayed. As far as the line, it is 361-884-1230. And you can text or call and join us. The question to you all was, what are you bumping right now? What are you listening to? What's on rotation in your music deck? Now, as far as musicianship, right? We're musicians. The reason that we wanted to really bring this into a place of music is because it is a passion of ours. It's something that we do. But also, it's a really good way for community to get together, right? Like, how many times are you in a space where music changes the environment, right? Music will change. People will connect.
One song will come on.
One song.
Everybody's singing from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Chanting the same thing.
Literally.
With different races.
Yeah, exactly. Brings everyone together. And so let's just talk about a little bit of music. Christian, what do you do as a musician? Like, what is your passion, and how'd you get into it?
Oh man, so drums and percussion has been mine since I was 13. And I tried to do organ and keyboard. Keyboard I could do a little bit. Organ was difficult.
Yeah.
Organ was tough. I really respect organ. But just playing the drums, man, and freaking percussion is my thing. I like this djembe drum. I've been playing that for the last few years, just kind of getting my chops up.
Mm-hmm.
But a full kit, I've been playing full kit since I was 13.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you started out in church?
Pretty much. Yeah. Like my grandfather had like a home church, and we would just meet in the living room every morning. And all of my family members would come over. And there'd be 20 of us in the front room. And I'm playing
That's amazing.
This is the day.
Yeah, exactly. The Lord has made. Funny enough, my first instrument was the drums as well.
Nice.
I was 13, maybe 4. No, I was 14. I was going to a school. Well, we just moved to Oklahoma at the time. And I was going to a school where I met these kids, and they were kind of like the alternative kids, and I was an athlete. So those groups really didn't mix that well. Mm-hmm. Normally it was like, picking on or, some kind of hazing. And, I just really connected with this group of kids. And, one day I went to their house because they're like, yeah, we have a band. I'm like, word. And they were called Unnatural Vacancy. And it's still to this day, they're my best friends, and we're in a group chat that is hilarious. But that was the first thing that I like really was drawn to, and so after their band practice, I would just be like, oh, I want to try to play the drums, and so I would start playing, and then I started getting into the rhythm of drums, and then with church and whatnot, I would start picking up. But I really didn't get into the drums until I was a little older, actually.
Mhm.
And that switched because then it became a situation where I couldn't actually get drums because there was nowhere to put them, and they were loud.
Right.
So that was the major holdup where I was like, all right, well, now I'm going to switch to guitar. So
Okay.
I started playing guitar actually when I was 19.
Lead, rhythm, bass.
Well, both. Well, not both, bass and guitar, but not really lead or rhythm. At that time, I was just learning. I had a roommate that he was into guitars. I had bought a guitar, and he had all these Bob Marley books and all these books about learning how to play these guys' songs. And so I would just spend my days, whenever I'm not in school, just sitting at the house and playing guitar. And that pushed me into my 20s, and then I had my music production company in Brooklyn. So yeah, the music part of me was actually interesting because I never thought that I would do music, but it just happened.
Right.
It kind of happened to where it took over my life, where I was, performing. I was seeking how to make more music. How do I do more music? And it never really was the goal. Even with college,
It does
it
just
never
kind of
really
take over.
was.
Like,
Yeah,
I
it
remember I
did.
was beating on buckets and everything else,
Yeah,
just get in trouble.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
And then when I was
exactly.
playing like 4 or 5 minutes a week for like 5 or 6 years, people were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense now."
Now, what style of music do you say that you are more geared towards? Like, what do you?
I would say I'm a drummer versus a person who plays the drums.
Mm,
Like I love the tones and
yeah,
the sounds of the drum and the different types of stroking and techniques you can do with
oh
the
yeah,
drum. So, and that can carry to any genre of music.
yeah, yeah. That's
But
true. That's true.
I love playing them, man.
Yeah,
I love drums.
yeah. No, the drums are great, and I've heard you play. Obviously, you're really good at
Thank
it,
you.
and
I appreciate it.
whenever you see someone really in their craft and you hear it, you can see it, like how they zone out. You can see whenever they're just
Right,
in it,
right.
and nothing can disturb
The
that.
unconscious, conscious
Yeah,
side.
it's great. I would actually, for me, I actually got into a really interesting style, and it kind of developed my music to be actually mentioning Andre. It was like people used to like hear me live, or they'll listen to some of my tracks, and they'll be like, "Man, you have like this like interesting like Jack Johnson, Andre 3000 thing going on." And I'm like, "Word."
That's a good
I
description.
was like, that's actually a really good description of me because I moved into folk on like just happened too.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the rhythms that I really like would feel and would connect with were like folk rhythms and folk chords, and so I would make music that was folky on an acoustic guitar, but then I would like sing in harmonics and then rap and do many things over that. And it's interesting because like if I were to ever to describe it, it would maybe be in that same those two guys with Jack Johnson and Andre, because they both had about a lot of influence on me, just musically, but more so just the person that they are. Like Jack Johnson's just super cool. Andre's just super cool. Like I follow them as humans. They just happen to be really good music.
Right.
But the other thing that I really want to talk about specifically in this segment, which is really the highlight, and that all comes around to understanding frequencies. And that's really why we're leading into this conversation about musicship or being musicians, because we both know that the frequency of music has a specific tone, pace, and it will make you feel or engage in certain things.
Mhm.
Now, let's ask a real good question, right? So, we have a lot of music out right now, and a lot of the music that is out right now it's not as diverse as the music used to be. Where you have a variety of different artists, a variety of different genres, and multiple bands and groups that are doing that. Nowadays, you have these studio guys. Most of the music is like hip hop and pop. or that it's not even really hip hop anymore. I don't even want to call today's music hip hop.
No,
It's something different.
It's like trendy music.
Yeah, it's like
Trendy rap,
it's like
trendy
rap pop.
Yeah.
It's pop rap singing with auto tunes and but the thing is yeah, exactly. Like everyone, let's just do the same thing no matter what. And then we like add some like screaming just to pretend that we're grunge.
Right. No creativity.
None. But the thing that bothers me the most is the content. And when you think about some of these frequencies and some of these bass tones, like these are lower vibrations. You know, they resonate on a lower hertz. And this is, you know, all you musicians out there, you know what we're talking about because we think in the scales of hertz.
Right.
So whenever you have a low tone or a different key, that hertz is going to matter. So whenever you have this music that is like low vibration frequency, when you think about the body or the how certain emotions and certain parts of your body are adapting to frequencies. We're talking about a lot of root chakra stuff. And you know, it's funny, Kanye got a lot of crap about talking about this, about how a lot of the 808 music that we're playing in the actual words. And I yeah, exactly. But I actually can't say on this air what Kanye said, but if any of y'all know, he said, I'ma kill this and we go these and it's all negative. It's all negative. And so whenever you actually look at the 808 frequency and how it's a low root chakra, which means like that sexual energy, you are now inviting words that are destructive. And it's actually changing you in the moment. Like, for instance, if I put on a sad song, then I start thinking about all them people in my life that, you know, that remind me of that feeling. If I put on an exciting song, then I'm going to bounce with it, right?
Think about the good time.
Exactly. Exactly. And so think about that, right? It's how let's say you're about to go into work, right? And you just programmed your body with this low frequency. You programmed your body with this consciousness of destruction. And then you run into work and somebody pops off and then you wonder why you pop off, right?
Right.
What we don't get is it's that energy we put ourselves into. And so this is another reason why, you know, let's say even religious or spiritual music, why it has the effect on people that it does, because it is specifically a frequency that is being like bombarded by your atoms. Like your atoms are moving.
Right.
And, you know, water, right? We're made of water. When you put frequency into water, it actually changes the structure of the molecules in the water.
Right.
So therefore, this is what we're doing. We're like changing the structures of our molecules and they will lead us into a specific feeling.
Right.
So what do you think about that? Like, what do you
I actually seen a study where they took some water and they put 2 bowls of water and they put certain words, like one really encouraging word, one, you know, not so encouraging. And when it froze, the water froze different based off of the word that it was sitting in front of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how and so, you know, which just kind of shows us how the words themselves carry.
Yeah. And you don't even need to speak.
Right.
You just have to write it out.
Try to just, you know, set the tone every morning for the day.
Yeah, if you will. Yeah.
You know, with good music.
Yep.
Because it does, you're right, it makes a difference. So when you enter an office space or go to a client, you bring in an energy. Like, to me, it's better to influence the energy in a room versus like action.
Yeah. And for those of you that may not really understand whenever we use the term energy is the basis of reality. You know, everything is energy, everything is a frequency, everything is a vibration, and energy is electromagnetic, but frequencies are sound waves, but they actually are in tandem. They work together, and it's all produced through light waves. So just to break that part down so we're not confused when we say energy
versus right.
Yeah, and it has, because sometimes people also think like, oh, you're those new age spiritual people that are like all about energy. And it's like, well, scientists always talk about energy, and you never say like there's some new age spiritual science people, but it's it is the science behind it. So with that said, I'm actually curious to know that study alone. Do you remember the doctor? It's like Emoto or there's a book and I actually have the book. It's called The Mysteries in Water. And then there's a documentary called Water, the Great Mysteries. And if you read this, it's going to blow your mind because it actually shows you how, like Christian said, the word alone, the understanding and the idea around that vibration will actually change the structure of the water. Like, that's crazy, son. Like what does that even mean? Like, what does that really mean? Like, let's think about that, because everything on this planet is made of water. The trees, the ants, the insects,
we're made of
us.
water. I think we're 85% water.
Yeah. Like, it always fluctuates. Yeah. Brain is completely like liquid. It's in liquid. It is well, the matter that it's made of is different, but it's like it is always adapting. It's always moving. Water is always prevalent in our body. We need water. Without water, for those of you that don't drink water out there and are fully reliant on soda diet, it actually thickens your blood. It like makes your blood into like syrup. And I actually told some of my veterans this weekend about that because we're doing stretching and they're not drinking water. I'm like, man, you're so dehydrated. And funny enough, they're like, well, I'm a soda drinker. I don't really drink water. And I'm like, well, are you made of soda? Crickets, right? And so they're not. He's like, well, we're made of water. So I'm like, so you need the water. Like, I was like, think about it. When something is flowing, like water, it moves things along. But let's think about a thick swamp, right? What's happening? Nothing's moving. Everything's stagnant, and it becomes gross, and then that's when disease pops off. And I told him, I'm like, literally, disease will pop off in your body if you are not drinking water. I'm sorry to say, America and Corpus Christi, but that is the truth. But going back to frequencies and vibrations, is there a specific song that you personally like always put on and it always does its job? It always puts you in that mood?
Man, there's a few actually. Okay. So it depends on the mood. Like, it could be a gospel song.
Yeah.
It could be I've really gotten into the Afrobeats Nigerian music.
Man. Yeah.
And it's interesting because I don't know what they're saying, but I love the tone and the energy around it. I like the way it makes me feel. Yeah. So, and sometimes I find myself even saying the words.
I don't know what I'm saying. We're gonna say exactly.
Well, like CeeLo's another good one.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna get back to CeeLo because that's actually somebody that has influenced me a lot as well. Right now, we're gonna go ahead and take a break and listen to our sponsors. We will be back. Thank you all for tuning in to The Flow. Sweaty is. Like, why are my ears sweating? I think it's because it's hoodie. Hey, YouTube.
Hey, YouTube.
We're going to get our visuals together soon.
Trying to get in the shot, out of the shot. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's like, it keeps, it fluctuates.
And that's something bring to understand stuff about this.
It's all good, man. We're going to get it worked out. I'm actually, I'm thinking maybe with this, actually, yeah, it would be able to take it out. Like, if we I'm gonna have someone working the back end of the board, they'll be able to take this portion and add. So what I'm actually gonna put one of these mics up to headphones so I can actually hear the commercials, and then have them just do their thing. And let me check it.
Yeah, but I got you before you said that. I mean, before you got up.
I was gonna say your spot, so you can see, but
yeah, I think mine's okay. I'll just show you.
Okay. See where we at.
I don't get too much with this side of your face.
Yeah.
Because if I put it over here, it's on this side.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I'm really looking forward to also having some more funds to buy some more equipment so we can bring all this together.
Right. Have a nice day.
We will. I'm going to after this.
Yes, it is.
Welcome back to the flow.
The flow.
I hope that you all are having a nice day, as Mr. Nice Guys just said. So, we left off at CeeLo. Now, if you all don't know who CeeLo is, CeeLo Green, he was a part of a band called the Goody Mob. They're from Atlanta. They were fantastic. They came out with Outkast. They're part of that whole Dungeon family and, all that scene. But CeeLo is a phenomenal, he's a great rapper, but his singing is like next level.
Next level, it is.
And most people have heard of CeeLo because after he went solo, he sings "Crazy," right? That's one of his most popular songs. Yeah, I'm trying to do that karaoke. I'm like, not today, but I'm going to switch that key down. And he does so many other good songs. But CeeLo specifically, what would you say is like the one track by CeeLo?
He's got an album that it's maybe like 3 or 4 years old, but it's one called "I Go to Work."
Oh yeah, that's the one that he has. What's that famous? I can't say it on the air either. It's like,
this is something great to wake up to. Like, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
And I feel like for the young men, like they need to listen to that to inspire them.
And not only that, it's also like when you see like the influence that CeeLo has had in music, his vocal tone, his quality, he has a very unique voice. Like not many people have that style of or that pitch because his voice is almost like off tone. It's not like your major keys that you get on most music. You're not getting no C's and G's. He's hitting like a really interesting tone that is very much his own.
Very unique voice.
Very
unique. He doesn't sound like anybody else.
Never, and no one has ever sounded like him. If you ask me. Let's see. Who have? Yeah, I'm gonna say who have. I have so many genres of music that have influenced me, but funny enough, man, like it really does depend on that zone that I want to be in. And I've been really like wrestling with styles of music today, so I really kind of just go back to what I know. And but some of the stuff today is really dope. But I would have to say that a lot of times for me, it's not necessarily the music itself, but the lyrics and the energy behind it. Because sometimes for me, it's almost like the music was speaking to something in my life at that moment. And I'm pretty sure like people on the airwaves right now have had this experience where it seems like the song was written for you and your experience right in that moment. It's like, God, are you watching me right now? Like, what's happening? Like, did you write this song for me on the spot? What's going on? And so, though, I have a lot of moments where I connect with music in that way. So it's hard for me to even name some of the bands because there's so many. As far as like,
what'd you listen to this morning?
Actually, I listened to Silence.
Okay.
I was listening to.
Always a good thing.
Well, exactly. I was driving down the street, and funny enough, because I was like, "Oh, let's put some music on," but I actually wanted to hear my thoughts, and I wanted to push my thoughts, and so the entire drive over here, I was focused on gratitude and how I would like to come into this day, and every once in a while, a thought would pop in, but that's what I listened to this morning was Silence and gratitude. It was fantastic, but what I had on yesterday actually is this young kid called Dominic Fick. I almost want to say it's Fike, but it sounds wrong to pronounce it that way. Dominic Fike, like it just sounds like a weird name. But he has a lot of good tracks, and I kind of got into him randomly. My son had a playlist on, and from that playlist, he came on, and I was like, "Yo, who's this kid?" And then I looked him up, and learned all about him. Super cool kid, plays guitar, great singer, he raps. But that was yesterday. But to be honest, like if you really want to get me into my spaces, like Outkast. Like Outkast has a plethora of songs, but also, man, I actually just watched someone. They put a video out of one of Outkast's tracks, done by orchestra. And I think like one of the whole albums was done by orchestra. It's amazing. But who else? Pink Floyd was a really big inspiration to me. I used to just sit and listen to Pink Floyd forever because it's so smooth, so amazing. The musicianship is freaking crazy. The Mars Volta. These are all like, rock metal. It's not metal. They're more like rock alternative. Yeah. Well, Pink Floyd is old school. They changed the game of music back in the 60s and 70s.
So I do have a UGK, Scarface, MJG side as well.
Yeah. Well, no, you gotta have those. I have all that.
I'll go James Fortune, John P.
Yeah, yeah. But as far as musicianship, right? Like all that, I love all that. Like even Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
I actually love Eminem. People sometimes make fun of me for it, but I'm like, hey, Eminem's dope. And I don't know if y'all know it, but nobody can still keep up with that kid.
He's a kid.
Masego, yeah, he's actually I don't know him personally, but he's a part of the crew that I was with back in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Like Masego's dope. He plays saxophone, keys.
He's got some good tricks.
Amazing. He's amazing, and he teams up a lot with some of the people that I know actually. My man Kamau and Simbe. Simbe used to be known as a guy by Nat Niel, and he used to be an artist that we managed. And then he grew up and changed his style and his name, and it works much better. But his group of artists that he works with is a part of that Masego. And I think it's Masego. I actually don't know how to pronounce his name correctly.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have more?
So many more. So many more. We just end the segment with me talking about all the bands that have influenced me. But going back to that Jack Johnson, Jack Johnson, during my time listening to Jack Johnson, I needed that calm, soothing, because I was starting to really deal with my trauma and how I grew up in violence. And, I was always in a fisticuff somehow, some way. And so that part of my life, I needed that calm, that like I'm chilling by the beach, looking at the ocean, being like thankful, eating strawberry, banana pancakes, right? And so,
sitting at the dock of the bay?
No, that's yes, it's Otis. Yes. No, Jack Johnson's he's more of a new guy. He's from Hawaii.
Okay.
So all of his music is like you're on the Hawaii, you're in Hawaii. So very much Hawaiian influence, but chill. But I needed that because at the time I was really overwhelmed. But with that, again, here we are at the end of the show, needing more time to talk. But if there's anything that we wanted to get you guys onto, it's really about the understanding of frequencies. Be sure to be aware of the things that you're listening to and the frequencies that you're putting into your body. If you're a musician, be aware of the frequencies that you're putting out there for the world. With that, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a good one. 2 weeks.